he did talk about Trey Lance. I do have that clip without the ad in it. Let's go ahead and listen
I
to
think he
that.
would have had a hell of a year. He only got 1.5 games or 1.25. And then he went out, opened up an opportunity for Jimmy. Jimmy got hurt and opened it up for Brock. And Brock played 8 games and won all of them and played at an extremely high level. And we're very excited to have that level of a player as our quarterback. Now, we believe Trey can be that. I think he would have done it last year if he stayed healthy. The good thing for him is with Brock being hurt and stuff, he has an opportunity to try to regain that and everything. And that's also why we brought in Sam, because we can't be set for sure on Brock because you never know how the injury will go. We think it will go well, and we're optimistic about it, but right now that's on hold. And so it opens up an opportunity for Trey and for Sam to come in and show us what they have.
Can a guy like
I guess my question to you, Larry, is why insert the Sam opportunity? Like, why? And I get he's a quarterback. We signed him in free agency. I understand that, but why not just focus? He started off with Trey. He started talking about, man, we love him. If he didn't get injured, we felt like he was going to progress and be this and such and such. Of course, that's what you're going to say, right? But he got hurt and then opened up an opportunity for Brock and then for Jimmy, and then Jimmy get hurt and then opened up an opportunity for Brock, and then Brock comes in and wins 8 games. But then he flashes right on to Sam Darnold, and then he comes back and ends it with Trey, but then ends it with Sam Darnold about opening up the opportunity for Sam, which makes me feel like they really do like Sam, opposed to him just being some type of an emergency insurance plan.
Well, it's weird too. I mean, it's clear that Darnold is a hedge. Now, it's a hedge either against Purdy's injury or against Trey's development or Trey's injury. But it's clearly a hedge. But then the question is, why is Ian Rappaport, who's pretty connected, why is he coming out saying that it really looks like Sam Darnold, if Trey stays on this trajectory, will be the starting quarterback for the 49ers in week 1? Who told Ian Rappaport that Trey's on a trajectory that's going to make him now lose the starting job to statistically one of the worst quarterbacks we've seen in the NFL?
Did they forget
why
that all
is
he
that? Why
throws
is that?
interceptions?
Isn't that, doesn't that make you go,
I remember that song. Things that make you go, No, but seriously, you're asking a legitimate question that we're
right?
trying to figure out. And this is why we're scratching our head, because we're saying to ourselves, why aren't they pushing the agenda that Trey Lance was the starter, lost the job due to injury first? Brock Purdy outplays every quarterback on that roster, clearly wins the job. I'm not mad that Brock Purdy's the leader in the clubhouse. He should be the leader in the clubhouse. He won games consecutively until we got to Philly, right? But we only lost that because he got injured. Injury is the key here. What are we talking about? So how is it that the agenda, how is it that the agenda is pushing Trey out? What do they know? Or what are we missing, Larry? What are we missing?
They either have seen something in Trey they don't like, or they're just they realize that Brock is their one, and that Trey needs to play. I mean, this isn't just because we don't know the answer doesn't mean anything nefarious is going on here. It's not like they're trying to cook up. I just think that the way it is the way it is, and they're reasonable. So, like, what do I mean by that? So Brock, in their mind, is their number one guy based on how he played. He ran with it, and he's young, and they believe in him. And as long as he's, not diminished coming off the surgery, they clearly want to go with him. I mean, that's the way it sounds to me.
That's what I got.
But they also understand that, Trey Lance is a good prospect as well, and there's no pressure on them to get rid of either quarterback. But I think if they know Brock's their guy and they know Trey needs to play to progress, they're not going to hold him hostage against his own will and stall out his entire career. I mean, theoretically, they could turn Trey Lance into a career backup by just keeping him on the roster. And at some point they're going to have to make a decision on trade. They're going to have to pay him in a big money extension, or he's going to have to
Mhm.
be a free agent. And if you're not going to let him play in that window, and the plan is to go with Purdy, you kind of. I said at the time at the combine when I heard Lynch say what he said, which was, you know, basically Trey's got to play, and that's the challenge because we're ready to win now. To me, it was an obvious indication they're going to trade him. And then I said, well, you know what? The next quarterback will tell you if they're going to trade him or not. Because if they go for like an Easton Stick, an obvious backup, then they're going to go with Brock and Trey, and this obvious backup is number 3 because that backup might have to go through waivers, and they didn't
Correct.
keep 3 quarterbacks. A lot of teams don't. Most teams don't. So then I said, but if they go with a real legitimate number 3, that guy who could almost be a number 1, like a Baker Mayfield is the name I threw out, that will tell us that they're probably are going to shop Trey. Sure enough, they go with Sam Darnold. Then they come out again, and Lynch is basically saying, hey, we like Trey, but I mean they're really not committal. And then Shanahan basically made it sound yesterday like they aren't shop. They could trade anybody. Will you be shopping Trey? Well, we could trade anybody. I could be
Yeah,
traded. You
I
could
agree with you. You could be traded.
be alive on Sunday. Remember that one? But I mean,
Yeah.
so he's throwing out that and then Jed York says, we haven't changed our opinions of Trey. It sounds to me like they're saying all the things that you would say if you want to trade a player, but you want to build up his value,
Yes.
but while still going by. I mean, look, do you want to listen to what they say? I've had people keep quoting what they say. I'd rather
Mhm.
try to decipher what they're doing. And what
Yeah.
they're doing is bringing in a guy in Sam Darnold that's either going to start or be the backup. He's not going
That
to be the 3. So one of those guys ain't going to be there. And they just told you they love Brock Purdy and they're fortunate he's the guy. And now Ian Rappaport is saying that if Brock Purdy doesn't start, it'll be Sam Darnold. And he only wants to be putting out the right information. So is it possible somebody whispered to him, you know what? Darnold's here. They're actually going to trade Trey on draft day. I don't know, but why is he not saying to me on paper, Trey Lance should beat out Sam Darnold. So why is it obvious that Darnold is going to start week 1? It's only obvious if somebody told you that Darnold is going to be here, but Trey's not. So I just think there's several indications that Trey could be dealt on draft day. And it's just because I don't think they can have both. They can't have Purdy and Trey, and they're going to have to move off of one of them within a year. And I think that they could do it 2 ways, Breezy. They could keep Trey this year and hope that he plays and builds up his value more. But if they think he has flaws and he's really not going to play and do well for them, that's why they have Sam Darnold. Then maybe it makes sense to trade him before then, so you don't so he's not devalued. I think there's a very good chance he gets traded on draft day.